At 11 a.m. is Trinity Healthcare Medical Center with your host, Dr. David Kuhn. Trinity Healthcare Medical Center is Ocala's only progressive primary care clinic. Be sure to listen in and also check their website at thcmc.com. Then call them with your questions at 512-0000. That's 512-0000. That's every second Friday at 11 a.m. for Trinity Healthcare Medical Center here on The Source WOCA.
All right, 25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Got a really fun topic. I think it's fun. If you're into Disney World and the history of Disney World, I think you're going to like this topic. Do you know, the year 2021 seems a long way off, doesn't it? It's 4 years from now. You know, Disney World will be 50 years old when October 1st of 2021 is on your calendar. The Disney World will be 50 years old.
Isn't that something?
Disney opened its gates for the first time on October 1st, 1971. Tickets were $3.50. That did not include the book. You had to get a book of tickets. Remember, you had to buy
different tickets,
e-tickets, etc. But $3.50 was just to get in the gate. $3.50.
Yeah, just to experience the world.
Isn't that amazing?
Cool.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I remember those days.
So Disney World was not supposed to be Disneyland Part 2 or Disneyland East. It had a completely different vision from Walt Disney and his brother Roy. Not to be confused with his nephew Roy, the Roy Disney we know today.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's an auction featuring nearly 1,000 artifacts from Disneyland that is taking place on June 25th. If you have got some money, I think these things are pretty expensive.
That is pretty cool.
The Van Eaton Gallery is one of the world's leading animation artwork and collectibles galleries located in Sherman Oaks, California, has announced the Walt Disney's Disneyland auction to take place Sunday, June 25th at the Van Eaton Galleries located on Ventura Boulevard in Sherman Oaks, California. It's a 10 o'clock in the morning event if you want to go out to California. But anyway, one of the things they are offering is the original Disneyland map, which is hand-drawn.
That is pretty cool.
And it is not just like lines. It's got everything. It's like a real artist's rendering of what Disneyland would look like. And so there you go. It's 1,000 pieces of Disneyland memorabilia, including... Let's see, the highlights include the original Disneyland map created by Walt Disney and Herb Ryman. They used that map, by the way, to get the money to create Disneyland. This is the one in Anaheim, California.
That is cool.
They got between $700,000 and $900,000. I guess nobody's really sure. They have an original ride vehicle from Autopia. There was a ride called Autopia back in those days.
Oh.
They got an original model of Michael Jackson from Captain EO, from the Captain EO attraction.
Oh, okay. Don't think that's there anymore.
They have an original bench used in Fantasyland. It's just a bench that was in Disneyland.
No, that's cool. I would like to bid on that.
Wow.
Have that bench in my
The estimated take for that one, they're expected between $2,000 and $4,000.
Oh,
just for that.
Okay.
An extremely rare poster from the grand opening of the Haunted Mansion is up for bids. Snow White's Scary Adventures, the original concept drawing, that's up for grabs. That's between $1,200 and $1,500, what they're expecting.
I wonder if the original artists will bid on some of that memorabilia.
Oh my gosh!
Because they're the ones that created all of that.
Yeah.
Especially the maps of the drawing that they used.
Yeah.
To get the money to build Disneyland. I wonder who actually drew that.
So later this month, there is an attraction opening up at the Animal Kingdom called Avatar. Let me get to that page. It's called Pandora, the World of Avatar. It opens May 27th, and it's big news. Everybody's excited about this. Everybody can't wait to go to this. Disney has dumped a bunch of money into it. In the movie, which I have not seen, there are floating islands, not floating in the water, but floating in the air. And so they have recreated that. There are floating islands at Avatar, the World of Avatar.
Go up there?
I don't know.
That'd be cool.
I honestly don't know much about it. But I looked up, archives of the Disney stories. And I just thought this was so interesting, I wanted to share some with you. Okay? So now that we've talked about the auction and what's happening, in a few weeks, let's go back in time a little bit.
Okay, I would like that.
The Miami Herald is where I got this from, so thank you, Miami Herald, for having a website with an archives link. And on May 27th, 1965, the Miami Herald had this headline: Giant land deal near Orlando revealed. That was the beginning.
Gosh.
That was the first news item I could find. And then the story said a Miami law firm working with $5 million has quietly engineered one of the biggest Florida land deals in years.
Wow.
Everybody wondered what it was. Some people guessed it was going to be an atomic energy laboratory. It was 30,000 acres. 30,000 acres. Holy mackerel. $5 million, 30,000 acres.
Golly.
Somebody guessed it would be Disneyland East, and boy, whoever that was had a
Inside scoop.
psychics. Yeah, inside scoop or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, in November of 1965, so that was May, they had the headlines. In November, Walt Disney himself announced plans for the theme park. And 6 years later, the Magic Kingdom in the Disney World opened up. So real quickly, I wanted the governor of the state of Florida at that time. Hold on, let me get my notes here. I can't remember the guy's name.
Okay.
Oh boy. Anyway, the governor did a news conference.
Hayden Burns, I think you said earlier.
Hayden Burns?
Something like that.
Is that
Yeah.
it? Yeah. Yeah, Hayden Burns.
that's what
W.
you said
Hayden Burns,
earlier.
yeah, was the governor of Florida from 1965 to 67. He was the mayor of Jacksonville from 49 to 65. Anyway, so he was sitting with Walt Disney and his brother Roy. Roy is an older brother, by the way. So I want to show you some of the sound bites. Here's a sound bite of the governor introducing Walt Disney and Roy Disney on the day they finally made the announcement to the public.
Walt Disney, who will bring a new world of entertainment, pleasure, and economic development to the state of Florida. Walt Disney. Thank you, Governor. May I also introduce on my left the financial genius of Walt Disney Productions, its president, Mr. Roy Disney.
And keep in mind, this is the brother of Walt,
Right.
and not the nephew.
This is the largest press aggregation I have ever seen in the state of Florida, and I think it bespeaks the interest of the 6.5 million citizens of Florida for the great expectations that they have from this hour.
Well, Mr. Governor, this has been a wonderful reception
That's Walt Disney.
given us here. All the faces seem friendly and feel very much at home. Of course, this is this big, exciting project for us, too, you know. I mean, in fact, it's the biggest thing we've ever tackled. And I might, for the benefit of the press, explain that my brother and I have been together in our business for 42 years now. He's my big brother, and he's the one that, when I was a little fella, I used to go to with some of my wild ideas, and he'd either straighten me out, put me on the right path or something, or if he didn't agree with me, I'd work on it for years until I got him to agree with me. But I must say that we've had our little problems that way. That's been the proper balance that has been needed in our organization. And he watches out for the financial side of it and the corporate side. In this project, though, I'd just like to say that I didn't have to work very hard with him on this project. He was with me from the start. Now, whether that's good or bad, I don't know. But I think that to have this enthusiasm on the part of our whole organization and on the part of the people of the state of Florida really is a good start. And we hope that what we develop here will be a real credit to the state, a credit to the Disney organization. And I might say that when we were planning Disneyland, we hoped that we could build something that would command the respect of the community. And after 10 years, I feel that we've accomplished that. Not only the community, but the country as a whole. And that is actually what we hope to do here, is to really develop something more than an entertainment enterprise. It's something that contributes in many other ways. Well, educationally, and one thing is that, to me, the important thing is the family. And if you can keep that family together with things, and that's been the backbone of our whole business, catering to the family.
Yeah, and that's kind of an important part of that. If you looking back, you realize that was his whole thing. His brother was in charge of the money, but he was in charge of making sure that this was the dream he had, which was to create family entertainment, not only on the screen but in the parks that he created. So that was the date of the announcement, which was November 1965. I forget the exact date, but November 65. All right, so fast forward. Well, I do want to play one more thing from that particular news. What do you call it? News conference?
Yes.
And this is not directly connected to it. It was later on in the conference, but I extracted this piece because he's talking about one of the attractions, and he did not call it an attraction. He did not call it a ride. He called it a show. Mm-hmm. And so you'll hear that. Listen to this.
We did the 4 shows at the World's Fair, and it was a new departure for us. It was something we'd never tackled before. And fortunately, they were 4 very successful shows at the New York World's Fair. In fact, one project there, which was one of the top attractions at the fair, was called It's a Small World. It was sponsored by the Pepsi-Cola Company. They came to us 11 months before the fair opened and asked us to come up with some kind of a show for them. And we had the show open on time. And when they came to us, we didn't have any idea what the show was going to be.
Isn't that amazing that he referred to Small World as a show?
Yeah.
I just find that fascinating. And I remember that would have been a year before, I guess, they made the announcement about Disney World. They were in the World's Fair. And he said they had 4 of them. So the 2 I remember, maybe Joe remembers the other 2, but the 2 I remember are Small World and the Carousel of Progress.
Yes.
But Disney on that announcement said there were 4 of them. He never did say what the 4 were. The only one he mentioned was Small World. Small World. So, all right. So here's the news article from the Miami Herald, dated October 2nd, 1971. Okay, this is an archive. I'm going to read it. I don't have any audio from it. Walt Disney's $400 million world opened Friday with cloudless skies and balmy temperatures, an extravagant spectacle. Nevertheless, only 10,422 persons filed into the park before its 6 p.m. closing, far below the 30,000 to 35,000 that had been predicted. Mm-hmm. So 10,000 people showed up, and it was 1/3 of what they expected.
Gosh.
Those who came to the unofficial opening saw Disney's newest Magic Kingdom at its best, gleaming with fresh paint, almost completely free of the lines of people and of transportation problems that have plagued preview openings during the past 2 weeks. Whining monorails, puffing steam engines, and authentic paddle wheel steamboats moved everyone smoothly around the park, but their whistles and bells had to compete with the screams of ecstatic children meeting Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and other Disney characters in front of the 200-foot Cinderella Castle. Uh-huh. Isn't this, I find this interesting.
It is so fascinating.
Most excited of all were Mr. and Mrs. William J. Windsor Jr. and their 2 sons, who were selected from among the 100 or so at the gates at 7:40 a.m. to be Walt Disney World's first family.
Wow.
Let's see. One Disney official said, "We couldn't have found a better-looking couple if we had recruited them." The couple had 2 blue-eyed, straw-blonde youngsters named Jay, who was 3, and Lee, who was 1.5 years old. So they found a young couple with 2 young children. Aww. The Windsors carried matters one step further by confessing they had slept Thursday night in their Volkswagen.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
Mr. Windsor, who was 21 years old at the time, said it was worth it.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Less impressed, however, was Lee, the little kid, who said he wasn't really that happy about the whole thing. Well, he's only 1.5 years old. Come on.
Oh yeah, when you're, you got to be like 5.
All right.
To really enjoy it.
So let me go back a little bit to okay, that was the opening day article, and then I found one from, I think it was the 40th anniversary. Let me find it here.
Okay.
40th anniversary article. This is again from the Miami Herald. I have to share the auction stuff with Joe. See if he wants to buy a bench.
Yeah, I would love that bench.
You want to buy the bench?
I would love that bench. I love Disney World.
All right, here's the article from the 40th anniversary. So this came out in the Miami Herald. It's in their archives. If you go to their website, you can read the whole thing. I'm just going to read a little bit of it. October 2nd, 2011. So this was just 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. Okay? When Walt Disney World opened 40 years ago, officially on October 1st, 1971, although the grand opening ceremony was not until October 25th, the less than ballyhooed turnout for the first few weeks led some observers to believe Disney's venture into Florida was a dud. Disney stock took a tumble. Then came Thanksgiving. So many visitors tried to enter Disney World that weekend that the park periodically had to close its doors. It was a blockbuster, recalled Charlie Ridgway, who was the Disney publicity director at that time. Disney stock soared, finally, after a little bit scary opening season, I guess a month and a half. In the 40 years since, Disney World has grown to become one of the biggest amusement companies. I don't want to do that. I'm trying to find where it said that what was open at that time.
Oh, the individual attractions itself.
Yeah.
What was it? Frontierland open?
In that time, the Magic Kingdom has become the biggest theme park in the world in attendance. The success of the Magic Kingdom led to a frantic scramble by developers to create competing theme parks in Central Florida: Circus World, Boardwalk and Baseball, Marco Polo World, which I don't even remember. Do you?
No, I don't remember that one.
Stars Hall of Fame, Splendid China, Bible World, which is called the Holy Land, right?
Yeah.
I guess that was the original name in 2011. Hurricane World. Do you remember Hurricane World?
I don't remember that.
Little England. There was a theme park called Little England.
That one I don't remember either.
Wow. Of course, there were also some more successful ones like SeaWorld and Universal Studios, together with Busch Gardens in Tampa, Legoland in Winter Haven. Anyway, so when the park opened in 1971, here we go. It had just 26 attractions in the Magic Kingdom. It had only 2 hotels, both of which were served by monorail.
The Contemporary and the Polynesian.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
If I recall
so
correctly.
You remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Early visitors to the Magic Kingdom marveled at the ghostly effects of the Haunted Mansion, so that was there. They laughed at the talking animal heads in the Country Bear Jamboree. That's gone now, right?
No, I think it's still there. It's in Frontierland, the Country Bear Jamboree.
They rode a submarine underwater in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. That's gone now, right?
That's gone, yeah.
The locomotive coming at them in Mr. Toad's Wild Ride made them scream. That's gone, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, right? Animatronic figures at the Hall of Presidents gave speeches. Yeah, that's still there. I like
love that.
One of the other popular rides was the Snow White's Adventures. I think that's still there, right?
I don't recall if it's still there or not.
Disney has never been a static park. Disney has made additions, but were simply new attractions, and many were expansions, most of them added after Michael Eisner and Frank Wells took the company over in 1984. So let's see. Some of them were phased out, but I wanted to add to those many popular attractions that have come since, such as, so the day it opened up, the following attractions were not there. Pirates of the Caribbean was not there.
Okay.
It opened in 1973.
Okay.
Space Mountain was not there. Space Mountain.
Wow.
That was one of my favorite things when I was a kid, or a 20-something-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Space Mountain opened in 75.
Okay.
Wow. Big Thunder Railroad didn't open until 1980.
Gosh.
Splash Mountain didn't open up till 1992. And the new Tomorrowland, I'm not sure what that is, didn't open until 1995.
Oh, okay.
But some of the ones that were phased out were 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, the Diamond Horse Show Review.
Oh, my. So that is not there anymore. That was the Can-Can Girls and everything.
Oh, really?
Wild West, yeah.
Oh, because you know,
Diamond Horseshoe
remember
Review.
we learned that he had come to Six-Gun territory.
Yes. Yep.
In fact, I think that's one of Bob Houck's trivia questions what significant event happened the day he left Ocala? It was the day John Kennedy was shot. It was the day Walt Disney left Ocala after visiting six-gun territory. Disney Imagineers used some of the new technology that were actually from NASA in order to create the theme park.
I believe that.
Did you know that?
I did not know it, but I believe it.
Star Tours, the simulated flying of Star Tours and Body Wars, both came from NASA technology.
Gosh.
The centrifuges used in training NASA astronauts produced real G-forces in the simulated space flight of Epcot's Mission Space attraction. Epcot's Mission Space.
Yes.
And the laser beams that are used for the light shows all were part of the NASA program as well.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing. And why not go to the experts? If you're going to want something top drawer, you go to the people that are successful with it and you incorporate their ideas in yours.
So, anyway, I just thought this was interesting, and
it is. It's fascinating.
There's so many different things. If you ever want to read any of the archived stories on, gosh, not just Disney World, but so much, the Miami Herald has an archive link on their website.
Well, I know something about opening day. That all of the construction workers and their families were invited to come in for free to the park.
And were you one of them?
Oh no, because I wasn't here then. No, but Ronnie was, and his brother was, and they're, and their buds, and so all the families were invited to come in free, and I thought that was really nice.
So Ronnie went the first day it opened?
Yeah, him and Jerry and the construction guys and their families. It was really nice. And that was before the tunnels had labels and things on the inside. So since they were construction guys, if they wanted to go, to one part of the park and avoid the crowds, they would go into the tunnel and go around and pop their heads up and say, okay, here it is. This is where we want to be, and come right out. So they knew all that stuff. Pretty interesting. Going
back to the 1965 press conference real quickly, he said that after Disneyland in California, which was then 10 years old, he wanted to see what they could do starting from scratch, using what they had learned in California. He was sitting next to Governor Burns. Is that what he said his name was?
Yes.
Governor. He said, here, after looking at the land this morning, I must say we are starting from scratch. There's a photo of him standing in a swamp, and that's Disney World.
That's it, yeah.
And what was the trivia question from Ronnie? What was the first building ever constructed at Disney World?
Yeah, it was a porta potty.
It was a porta potty.
It was a porta potty for those guys.
The first thing that was ever put up there was a porta potty.
Exactly.
There you go. Wow, very cool.
I think that was such interesting moments that you found, because I just think that is so cool, because it's history. It really is. And who would know that? And you had to have super powerful engineers too to make that swampland into something that had a great foundation to accommodate everything without it being sucked in. I mean, gosh, that was an engineering feat into itself.
So what do you call is it a Disneyophyte? If you're a Disneyophyte, whatever, if you're a Disney fan, and you want some items from Disneyland, the auction is Sunday, June 25th. I think you might have to go out there to do it, but they've got the 1953 Disneyland map, which was hand-drawn, and they're expecting to fetch between $700,000 and $900,000 for it.
Oh, gosh, that is something. I'll bet you they will. That is something. I wonder if there's a place in the Smithsonian that is honoring Disney.
I don't know.
Part of it. I mean, Big Daddy Don Garlic.
But I go back to what we started talking about a couple weeks ago, is that while Disney, yes, we have this whole thing right now up in Tallahassee about the money for the Visit Florida campaigns, for advertising the state. People come to Florida because of Disney. That's a true statement. But Disney came to Florida because of Florida.
Yeah, you're so right.
Because the original attraction in Florida was not theme parks. It was the state.
Yeah.
It was the beaches. It was the weather. It was the state. The state was the reason people came here. All right, let's take a little break. We'll be right back. This is The Source, WOCA.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.